Welcome to your daily dose of mindful moments and this new Feminine Awakening series, where we're celebrating women and all your ebbs and flows. It's time now to reawaken the feminine energy. Let's begin. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's mindful moment. We are in our Feminine Awakening series right now, and we are bringing back for the final time during this series the Sacred Cycles Oracle deck. So if this is your first time jumping into the series, no worries. You can definitely go back and catch up at any point you feel called. And I do want to let you know that one of my favorite things about this deck, and here's the deck, I'll just kind of show it off a little bit, is that this comes not only with a message, it comes with the affirmation that you may feel called to write down, but it also comes with a journal prompt that I will display on the screen, and you can use this to go deeper on the message that we receive. So if you need a pause and grab your notebook, your journal, your me time journal, whatever you have that you enjoy journaling in or jotting things down, make sure to have that nearby so that you are all set and ready to go for today's practice. So let's go ahead and just start moving these cards around a little bit more. Again, the whole idea of this is to see in real time what card is going to pop out and be the message that we all need to hear today. And I definitely, if you guys have been keeping up, definitely receive messages right away as I am pulling the card myself. So it's just so amazing how these cards, the one that pops out is always the one that is meant for us to hear, right? And you can always even ask a question if you feel called to before the card pops out. So if you want to even pause now and ask a question to see if you receive the answer through the affirmation that comes with this, maybe it's something that I say. I like to share a little insight of if I receive an insight. Or you might receive the message from the actual message that the card is, that comes in the booklet for the card. Or you might receive the message while you're doing the journaling. You know, there's so many different ways that we receive these answers. And what I love about playing and strengthening our feminine energy is this idea of slowing down. That is the number one thing that part of us loves and needs in order for it to activate. It needs to slow down. It needs to be in its flow, in its sensuality. And if you were here for the last Oracle deck reveal, you know that we talked about pleasure, and the feminine energy needs pleasure, and so does the masculine energy. Both energies deserve and need pleasure. And think about it though, they receive and need pleasure differently. And in some ways, also need it in the same ways, right? Connection pleasure, being alone pleasure, slowing down pleasure, feeling the accomplishments, which is masculine energy, but that's a form of pleasure. It feels good and can feel like bliss, right? When we accomplish something. So, or just this idea of slowing down and, caressing ourselves and feeling our body and connecting with our senses. So we went into that a lot in the last video. If you didn't get a chance to check it out yet, make sure you do. And those that were a part of it, you remember that conversation and what that card provided for us. So yeah, this is part of it, right? Receiving, waiting, patient. This is another feminine energy, right? We don't rush. We just take our time, because when we rush, that's how things get missed. That's how things start to feel chaotic. That's how burnout happens. And here's our card. And when we rush, that's how mistakes happen, right? So feminine energy is all about taking our time, all about slowing down and surrendering and letting go and being okay with the way that time is working, right? There's this thing called divine timing, and we're all in it. It's always happening for us, so the more we slow down and just understand how to just be in these moments. We honestly receive the answers and we don't have to rush because everything's going to show up right on time. And it always does, right? All right. So, wow. Very cool. So this one is the uterus. This is our card. And I'm going to show it to you now. And I'm letting the messages come to me as far as what comes up. The uterus. I see water. I don't know if you see these little droplets, but I think this is a pool. Like it looks like she's in water because there's like droplets coming from somewhere. And water is about flow, being in flow. And I do see like this red in like the bowl. It's like a bowl, right? The pelvic bowl, I'm guessing is what that represents. And thinking about the uterus, thinking about how it's connected to our menstrual cycle. You know, the uterus sheds the blood so that we can release and let go what no longer serves us. So that's kind of what I'm receiving, but let's see what the intentional message, where does this message take us further? So let's see. And I think it's interesting how these last 3 videos really focus all on physical body because there's plants in here, the moon cycles are in here, our menstrual cycles are in this book. And yeah, we just kept landing on the physical body. So let's see. Number 50 is the uterus. And the affirmation is, I am a powerful source of creation. And I thought of that too, right? Because the uterus is where, you know, the baby, like where the egg and the sperm meet and form a child. So that makes sense as well. So let's see. Okay, let's see where we go with this. Oh, it's a chalice. Okay, it's a cup. The chalice of the generative space. The uterus ebbs and flows with the monthly hormonal cycle and holds the potential to cultivate life. It is the incubating, I've never read that word before, incubating container for new creations and is part of the sacred body's center for cleansing and releasing. The uterus is part of everyone's origin story. It is the vessel through which we all arrive in the physical realm. That's so beautiful. Contemplating the dynamic part of the anatomy is an invitation to explore the role of nurturing in your recent experience. Pay particular attention to the tender parts of yourself that may be newly sprouting. Allow your attention to stay focused on what you are creating, the seeds you are planting. It is safe for you to tune out all other distractions and make this your priority. If there are aspects of your life that you have held on to that now feel limiting, this is your invitation to let them go and create space for your future creations to manifest. I think this is so beautiful, is the word. But it's kind of, if you think about it, it's this, what I received from it is, yes, the idea of shedding and letting go. So anything not serving us. And then the idea of slowing down and taking our time with what we are creating. So if we think about it from the essence of physical creation, when a woman gets pregnant, right, that becomes, you know, the woman's goal, the body's goal, to just work on creating that, right? Yes, the body is doing other functions, but if you think about it, that's why we don't get our menstrual cycle during that time, because you can't have both. So one has to stop and pause so that this creation can take place. And I think that's so interesting. So how do we apply that to our life, right? To let things go and shed, and then also just whatever we're working on or creating, how can we just nurture and put our love into that and be okay with like just taking time to focus on that. So I don't know, that's just very interesting. That was kind of what came up for me. So let's go ahead and work with today's journal prompt. I'm going to go ahead now and display it on the screen. Where in my life do I crave more nurturing? All right, my friends, 2 minutes is up with today's journal prompt, but as always, you can continue journaling or set this aside for now and come back to it later. And I just felt called to share some final thoughts. I know you now have already started going a little bit deeper, so maybe this may resonate with you on what you wrote down or what you started to receive from the message. But I read the journal prompt, right? Where in my life do I crave more nurturing? And then I read above that, if there are aspects of your life that you have held on to that feel limiting, this is your invitation to let them go and create space for your future creations to manifest. And it's just such a beautiful reminder how it's okay to let things go, how to let things shed. And when we do that, it allows room for creation. And going back to the idea of taking the physical body as our example, the menstrual cycle is shedding every single month and letting go what it doesn't need, right? It doesn't need the old eggs, because we want the purest and most healthiest egg to ideally be the one to connect with the sperm to form a healthy, beautiful human, right? But taking it to just the idea of aspects in our life, this is not just about the physical way this connects, but thinking about how when we let things go and leave this open space for something new to come in, how beautiful that is. And on top of that, allowing ourselves to be okay with that, nurturing ourselves with that letting go, nurturing if something we had to let go was hard, how do we nurture ourselves and bring ourselves back to a place where we can accept it? And then also then allow ourselves to nurture what now is coming in to be created and manifest. So I think this was a great one to end the Oracle series that I put in within this Feminine Awakening series here on YouTube. It's a great way for us to continue on, of course, with the rest of the series, but the Oracle really did just give us so much insight from when we first started. Literally day one was an Oracle reading to now, weeks into this series, it really was this like buildup of different things. And so we talked about the menstrual cycle here, the physical menstrual cycle, and how it just all continued to be connected. And I, didn't do it on purpose, right? You literally saw me shuffle these cards. And so I think it's so beautiful how we're receiving these messages in divine timing, as I had mentioned before. So this is really cool. I am so happy for everyone that's been part of this journey, whether you've started at the beginning or you're just jumping on now, wherever you are. I'm just so grateful for you and grateful that you are deciding to show up for yourself every single day in whatever ways, whether it's coming here to the channel to do these practices and in other ways that you are doing that out in the world. So thank you so much for that. Please share in the comments, like anything that's come up for you, whether it's anything that's come up in this series overall, what came up for you with this particular message that we all received, what came up for you in the journaling. If you feel called, I love to hear from you, so please share in the comments. And with that said, I'll be back here tomorrow for another mindful moment for our Feminine Awakening series. I'll see you then. Namaste. If you enjoyed today's practice and you're not yet part of the Mind Feel Motion community, subscribe today for more daily mindfulness.